Welcome, everybody. It's another Monday night, and you know what that means.
Mondays are for the mind.
It's Chase and Shep. Let's go. It's the April edition of Mondays Are For The Mind. Vibe with us and thrive with us all month long as we have new guests and returning guests right here on the show. And if you're looking for more, hit up chaseandshep.com, baby boy. It's a celebration. Sheesh.
Oh yes, hooked on Chronic. It worked for me.
I was just doing my peanut stance over here, just the same thing, back and forth, back and forth.
What a great song! What a great song! I was going to put it in this year's 420, but I know we're trying to pull back on the things we don't own, and we don't own that beat. So, but hooked on Chronic, go check it out. It's on the channel.
It's on
Excellent
everywhere.
song, Sheppy.
Everywhere you can find it.
It's
Thank you.
that time of year again. It's the week of 420. We always go in all week long with the celebration, and to help us kick the week off, we have Ron Chevarie joining us. Welcome to the show, Ron.
Hey guys, thanks, man. You guys tripping yet?
A little bit, man. The like I said, the background, you get to staring at it for a little bit, and you're like, okay,
yeah, I'm trancing. I gotta look away from that.
I'm watching everybody in the middle, but it's on the peripheral, just spinning around. It's kind of throwing me off, but yeah. Well, Ron, should we rip the Band-Aid off here? Because we know everybody's going to start asking about the animation stuff.
Yeah.
So I know my big question that I never got the chance to ask you was like, what specifically do you do? Because, you got a bunch of these credits on IMDb that are impressive to some 90s children like ourselves. I mean, Space Jam, that could have been your only credit, and we would have been like this guy. But so tell us what you do, Ron.
Right. Well, for the majority of my career, I've been what we call a cleanup artist. So I work alongside the animator. A lot of times they give me really tight roughs, but they're roughs. A lot of times it's chicken scratch, to be honest, but there's life in it and there's specific movement. And it's my job to determine the final cleanup line on a separate sheet. Back when we were using paper, Space Jam was done all on paper still back in those days. And we'd lay another sheet over top of all the roughs and reproduce all the roughs. And then those would now be scanned and once approved, painted. And so literally what you're seeing would be the cleanup artist final line that was a rendition from the animator's rough. So, and
I just laughed because I just heard my girlfriend from the other room go, "Oh my God, that's so fucking cool." And I'm assuming she's watching the show in the other room. So
well, I hope so. So besides that as well, I've been known to do effects animation as well. A lot of shadow tone work on characters, cast shadows, small little minor magic little sparkly effects and what have you. So I've been doing a little bit of animation as well too lately. My latest project is a small passion project. I just got off another passion project, and I like passion projects because people really care about what they're working on, and as long as you're in the right mindset to help somebody, it's a great copacetic relationship. And what a great feeling to make a living facilitating somebody that actually appreciates it. It's a good feeling.
Yeah.
I'm blowing off the dust on my animation skills and doing my own animation cleanup on this one. It's going pretty good so far. And like on the weekend, between the weekend and today, I was working on 3 different projects. So I was wrapping up the final scene of my last passion project. working on some cast shadows, hand-drawn animation for our film, The Who Incident, and then working on this other passion project. And now here I'm talking with you guys. Life is very surreal, you know.
And we're definitely feeling that same feeling this month. I think I was just telling a friend of mine the other day. We were filming over the weekend, and we'd gone from our own set to their set. This weekend, we're going to a bigger set than we're used to. Getting to talk with you, Tyler, last week. I mean, it's just been an incredible month. So
yeah, rock and roll. Yeah.
It's true, man.
But yeah, we definitely understand the going from one project to the next project to the next project. I mean, I'm in the throes of doing that right now. Like I said, I'll probably be editing all the way up till release on Thursday. And then we have another project coming out on Friday. So I have to get both those done this week and then another one done by Monday. So I'm right in the same boat.
And you're probably still thinking about fresh stuff and jotting notes.
Oh yeah, and I'm already looking forward to October.
We've already just threw a new idea out the other night to one another.
That's true. Yeah.
That's great, man.
Yep.
And that synergy of collaborating, like, because you're not alone, because you have each other, man.
That's
like,
true.
You guys are the eternal buddy story, man. And anybody watching, if you haven't seen, you should see these guys in action, because they're buddies, and off camera and on camera, and it shows. And it really, you know, there's a real authenticity because of that.
We really appreciate that. Yeah,
I dig your comedy chops. It's great.
Yeah, a friend of ours the other day kind of threw an idea out there to us about how he kind of wanted to see more solo stories for Shep and I as individuals, and I wasn't sure how I felt about it, because I feel like I didn't know how Chase and Shep worked when we weren't and in the middle, you know, like I don't know how Chase or Shep will play out. We know down the line we'll have more Chase centric stories or more Shep centric stories, but just solo adventures between the two of us, I don't know about it, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, because you're talking origin story. You don't want to rush that, you know.
Yeah,
that's, you know, you got to think about that. I mean, you got to remember that, right?
Right.
That's
very
our
true.
hardest thing. We write all these. We tried to start organizing it, putting together like, okay, what's in what universe and what's in this, and you know, it's all over the place, but it's a blast. It's fun to piece together.
You know, artists by nature, I think we're a bit compartmentalized personality wise, let's just say, you know.
Oh yeah.
There are different hats you need to wear at any given time, right?
Who was it? Somebody just the other day was saying something about they couldn't believe that I directed and acted. They thought that was so impressive that I could do both.
That was a compliment.
I think it's Tyler was saying that last week.
It was Tyler. Yeah.
Tyler. He was telling you that, and saying, you know, going from, you know, some of our stuff is not too bad because it's just us being us. But yeah, sometimes, man, if you had to get real serious, but then at the same time you have to get behind the camera and be like, is this all lined up? Is this looking good?
Yeah.
I couldn't do it.
That's a lot to put on, and if you could pull that off, that's amazing. Hats off to you.
I would like to take my hats off, because of all the hats that I wear on these productions, we're definitely getting to the point at the end of April where I'm ready for a breather after this.
Well, that's actually a perfect segue for me to talk about all the different hats that other people that are involved with the Who incident are wearing, because it's literally a small village of artists that it's taken that to achieve what we've achieved. I think we've achieved some good. I think it's very close to a final cut, but we're doing something that the average found footage film doesn't really do in the low budget world. We're actually applying top-notch animation skills for specific key creature shots that are on the level of Hollywood. So it just so happens I know some animators. What are the chances? Right? What are the chances? What's that?
I guess we got a few comments coming in. Hey dudes, what's going on, Corey? How are you?
Hey,
and then Belle most definitely was watching from the other room. Said, "Don't ever call me doll" was such a slick motion in Space Jam. That's true. I know
Okay.
exactly what frame she's talking about. So,
Oh, Bell, right?
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
But that's pretty dope though. What you're saying about using the like the CGI, the animation and whatnot in your new flick that you got coming out.
Yeah, we've used three different types of animation across the spectrum. I'm a real big fan of Ray Harryhausen. I grew up on Sunday matinee days when I was a kid, watching his entire body of work on Sundays and just falling in love with the fantasy aspect. And as a kid, realizing that that wasn't real, but it was animated so well, and the story was told so well that I've always been in love with stop motion. And if you think about what's happened this year at the Oscars, stop motion, man, stop motion won all the awards across the spectrum this year. Pinocchio, Pinocchio, Pinocchio. And it's amazing what they're achieving in stop motion these days, utilizing technology as well. And that's something we're using as well within the film. There is a certain technological aspect that we're using. To be crude, and I'll let you know, I'll name some players. Let's say we've got on the East Coast in Halifax, we've got Natalie and Dan Turner and their son Bernie, who helped assist with building the cast for the stop motion puppet, who that they built themselves. It blew me away. I was watching the BTS of this come to life. And Dan and Natalie built that, and they're now almost done with the stop motion, and it's creeping me out seeing it. It's really cool. At that point, our CGI mad scientist, Marco Santos, he's a dear old friend from high school. He just happened to have gotten into CGI, and I got back in touch with him just a few years ago. He is our CGI lead, and he is now going to take that stop motion and comp it and lay it into the shot convincingly. And where I need to, I'll put hand-drawn cast shadows in. We're sparing no expense and time in that sense. Talk about wearing hats. I'm busy sometimes just to make sure it's what we want and what will work. And what a team we have doing all that. On top of that, we have Vaughn Jacobix that's doing the editing. He's edited our trailer, which is going to come out really soon. You guys have had a sneak peek of it. And Ashleen Robinson, one of our producers, is also a music genius. And she did the score for the trailer. She's going to do a music score for our credits. Any music in our film, it's staying true to found footage. It's going to be organically within the film. So we have a lot of different people, a lot of different talents working on this. Cayman Mitchell, he's a Foley artist, a very dear friend that's doing sound for us. So we've got some creepy sounds that are being created, and you'd never guess where they were coming from. But in the context of the shots, I think it works really well.
Yeah, for sure.
Stop motion as well as animation is so time consuming and requires such patience. I really tip my hat to all of you.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it takes a lot of work.
Yeah, I know we talked a little bit about stop motion the last time we spoke, and I'm a huge fan of stop motion. I've always been, whether it's been Henry Selick's films or Leica is a studio that I really admire. Yeah, a lot goes into it. We would love to do a stop motion thing someday, but we'll get there. I know how much time it takes.
Yeah.
Well, if you have the right camera with the right capability of just doing frame by frame, it takes a while, but it can be crude. It could be like a robot chicken jumpiness. It doesn't have to be smooth.
I know that's what I discussed with you last time was that I have mixed feelings about the stop motion of today just because of how smooth it is, and I miss that handcrafted feel to it. I'm impressed as hell at how smooth it looks, but
yeah,
I miss that jerky quality that comes with stop motion.
Yeah, there's a certain jerkiness, even when you're being smooth, that's almost akin to claymation. When you actually see the texture of the fingers that are manipulating and moving the character, there's a real life to that. That CGI, it's hard to replicate. They're getting close to it, though. They're even doing things with motion blur in CGI that we're actually going to use some of that technology as well to make it really fit into the shot.
I do. That's basically what I'm talking about. Wallace and Gromit. Fantastic Mr. Fox. That's one of my favorites.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Animation in general is the work you'll never be prepared for, no matter how much you admire animation. What do you mean I just did 60 frames and it was just to open a hand?
Oh, and I have to revise that now. Oh, okay.
Yeah. After this, I got a date with an animated squirrel, so I definitely
doesn't sound right.
It doesn't, but it works.
That'll be some fun, BTS. And let me finish my laundry list of people that are involved. So, as well, we've got Mickey Sin, who's producing for us, who has also produced for Dylan Brown a lot of his films. I believe he's currently working potentially with Ash Hamilton as well too right now. So Mickey is an amazing outside of the box thinker. He's super talented with the social media. So anytime you might be communicating with our presence, that's probably Mickey. It's not me. It's the body that is the incident. So
awesome. And I know we didn't really get into what the movie itself was about, but just to tell people real quick, it's a found footage horror movie.
That's right.
Titled The Who Incident. I know we kind of just dove in talking about it, but yes, I'm very excited, and I'm very excited specifically to see the stop motion work in this. You've got me very, very thrilled to see it.
Well, I'm without revealing too much, I'll give you just an overview and a feel of what it is. And essentially, it's my wife, Jan, who's another producer on the film. She and I star in the film as characters that live on a property that just so happens to be where we live. It's very beautiful. We have rolling acres of creepy ass forest at night. Trust me, it's without the camera rolling, it's creepy. It's a story, a fictional story about us preparing to celebrate for our anniversary. Our characters are going to have this massive bonfire, great outdoor party, and kind of reminiscent of what we actually do in real life. So it's a bit meta for us to have done that. But it's the story takes off in a much different direction than reality, and I feel we have really good pacing. That's some films sometimes, especially when you're watching found footage, it takes about a half an hour to 40 minutes to even get your first jump scare. We deliver right away. We deliver immediately. And one of the things I will reveal that's involved are ghosts. The film heavily involves ghosts.
Awesome.
And also trigger objects, if you're familiar with what that term is, trigger objects. In fact, I've got one right over here. Let me just show you. So a trigger object is something that people believe might contain a certain energy, a soul, you name it, something that might actually use it as a communication device. And right here, I have in front of me another star of our film, Owlie. This is a very old toy that we found on Marketplace. He was somebody's parents' prized possession when they were a child. I think this was German built. I think it was 1930s. And let me just demonstrate. He goes off on his own, by the way, and it kind of freaks us out. So, but this is what he sounds like. So there's nothing creepy about that, really.
Yeah.
And that's our trigger object. So we're dealing with something going on, and we don't know what's going on, and it goes from bad to worse.
Funny. I'm laughing because the movie involves ghosts, and I'm just imagining ghosts behind the camera and holding boom mics.
Well, if you see somebody walking by in here, please tell me because there should be nobody in here with you.
I saw a cat get up off the counter a few moments earlier, and it scared the shit out of me because I didn't.
You saw a cat behind me?
I thought I saw a cat.
We don't even have cats.
Oh boy!
No, I'm just kidding. We have 2 cats.
I was gonna be like, I definitely seen a cat. So
I was gonna be like, Shep, did you see that cat?
You guys tripping yet or what? You guys promised we're going to be tripping.
I have to say, we were just watching to shift gears a little bit. My girlfriend and I were just watching a comedian the other night, and he was talking about how his kid is the worst person to be around when you're stoned. And I had an experience like that the other day where the kid that I watch, I was a little stoned myself, and he had just woken up from a nap, and I could not tell if this 3-year-old boy was fucking with me or not by the end of this, but he made me feel like I was going crazy. And I walk in because he'll wear a pull-up when he takes a nap, and then he'll change out of it when he wakes up. And so he wakes up, and I left the room, and I come back, he's wearing underwear. I go, okay, cool. Hey, what did you do with your pull-up? Did you throw it away? He's like, yeah, I threw it away. So I'm looking at all the trash cans. I go, where'd you throw it away at? It's not in any of these trash cans. You've been in 2 rooms. There's only so many places it could be. And for like 5 solid minutes, this kid just let me go a little nuts and be like, where the hell did this thing go? It's got to be somewhere. I mean, it just vanished. And then he pulls up his underwear to reveal that he's still wearing the pamper under his underwear, and he's got a sly smile. I go, did you know you had those on this whole time?
Nice. I got to respect that, little devil. I got to respect that. I got to say I have it in me sometimes, but it's all good, right? Like,
it is. I had to, if it was all intentional, I had to give it to him because it worked very well. So
that's brilliant. Mind games from the young, eh? Yeah.
Like, buddy, I'm too stoned for this. You can't just be messing with me.
You'll get it back when you're old, man. They do. Yeah, they learn from adults too, right? So,
right.
Yeah,
that's true.
This is very true. This is very true.
Quite.
Hey, Coach.
Oh, he is.
He's quite the little. Okay, there you go. So, you got a horror movie in the making there. You know, that's based on a real story.
Yeah,
so, do you want to mash up a few things we've been talking about? I got something I can talk to you about. So let's mash up.
Let's do it.
Animation and ghosts. How about that?
All right. Okay.
So, just so happens, one of the first studios I ever worked for back in was called Animation House. Okay, it was this little production house in Toronto. Amazing. They did commercials back in the day. They were doing Hostess Munchies. You guys probably don't know what that is. Toronto favorite. Like, you name the cereal mascot, I was cleaning it up back in the days. Honey Nut Cheerio be out the wazoo, right? So Animation House used to be a church, right? They even had a smoking room at the very top. It was the bell steeple. It was kind of ironic. And there was this back stairwell, right, where up in the top floor was the paint section. Oh, by the way, back in those days, they painted cells. So they took our drawings, Xeroxed them onto cellophane, cell sheets, and hand painted them. Crazy, old school stuff. So there was a back way to get up and a front way to get up. Most people went up the front way, but the back way, sometimes it was just quicker. This thing, even in the middle of hot, searing the summertime, this back stairwell maintained a cold level that would make your hair stand up. You'd always feel like somebody was behind you, right? So one time in band camp, one time at A House, I was working really late. A few people were working late. We were working on a deadline. There was this real nice young girl. She's a very innocent type. She came running around the corner, screaming from the women's washroom. And we had to calm her down. We sat her down and we said, what happened? What happened? She said, when I walked out of the bathroom and I was walking back to my desk, I'm getting the hair in the back of my neck standing up right now. She said, I could feel somebody breathing on my neck and I could hear footfalls right behind me. So I turned quickly, she said, but nobody was there. And that's when we heard her scream and come around the corner. So this place was kind of known to be a bit haunted. And I'm usually pretty good with not weirding myself out. But there was one night in particular that, I was up late doing shadows for a commercial. It's probably around 3 a.m. and there was an alarm system. Last guy out, last person out. I always had to set up the alarm. And just picture this. There's wind howling between the window and this wall adjacent to the room I'm working in. And it's literally going, ooh. It's making this noise, right? And then I start hearing murmuring out in the hallway. It's only me. There's nobody there. You'd hear a ding dong if somebody walked in the room. So I get up and I walk out. Nobody's there. So I'm starting to get a little bit concerned. I'm getting late. I'm getting tired. And I freak myself out to the point where it was like a horror movie. And I'm fumbling with the buttons and I messed it up. I almost had the alarm company come. I got out the door and a bit ADD. And I said, I'm not looking back. This was literally like a horror movie. If you look back, somebody's going to be standing in the window staring at you. Don't look back until you get to your car. I literally had to wait till I got to my car. And I was expecting to see something. Man, I didn't. But boy, did I freak myself out.
I've had both of those sort of things happen. I've had the footsteps behind you happen beforehand, where you turn around, no one's there. When I was in the Navy, actually, on deployment, so we were on a ship, and they always said, "Oh, so and so died in the machine room," and "Oh, you'll hear weird ass noises in the middle of the night when you're up there on watch." But yeah, there was one time when I was walking, you can definitely hear somebody was walking behind me, but ain't nobody was there, and now in my house that I live in now, some people don't like that I have a Ouija board hanging on my bedroom wall. But I had one day I was sitting doing the dishes, doing my thing, and no shit, I could feel like someone walked up right behind me and just went like that right on the back of my neck, like a little fucking gust of air like that. Nobody being in here. It's like, okay. Maybe I should take the Ouija board down, but
You don't think it's the inverted cross, right?
Oh, no, not that thing.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be too mad about it if there was some sort of a spirit that found its way into my house. I think I'd be welcoming.
There you go. There's the Shep solo story. You and your ghostly roommate.
Yeah.
Just hang out with.
Yeah, I got one for you. What if it's a naked ghost?
Yeah, see?
Right. So
there's actually well, there's a song I heard not too long ago, kind of, that was basically about just this, about him, a guy being like his roommate was a girl ghost, and they start dating and shit, and like his mom don't like it, and he's like, whatever, she's a ghost. It's all good.
That's so weird.
And it's like, you know what? If that happened to me in real time, I'd probably be like, you know what? I've dated worse.
Well, there is a story out there about somebody who got romantic with a ghost. It's happening, boys. It's going on.
I've seen a story of like a girl that said she was divorcing a ghost because it cheated on her or something, her pirate ghost husband or something. It's
even
like,
in death, that's tough, man. Hey, it's tough, even in death.
It's like, what can I do, babe? I got summoned.
Well, we don't call ourselves Haunted Lodge Productions for no reason, too. And like, part of the house that we currently live in is a log cabin that was built in 1812. And talk about some resonance in that cabin. Wow, there's been a lot of crazy stuff that has gone on. Currently, it's just Jan and I that are here these days. We're not as social as we used to. We used to have big rolling parties, like Hugh Hefner level parties, man. 20, 30 people be out for the weekend, like, just good times. No Hugh Hefner.
Oh, yeah.
We didn't have bunnies or anything like that. But that cabin, it's got stories of its own. And so Jan and I, we're just trying to go about our business. We don't want to be disturbed. So we kind of have an agreement on this side of the house that they can have at her in the cabin. And this is where we sleep and where we work. Just don't muck with their stuff. You know,
Yeah.
especially in bed. That's the word. That's a safety zone. That should be your safe zone of all
Right.
places in the house, besides the toilet, maybe, or the bathroom.
A ghost human relationship sounds like a sitcom I could get down with.
There you go. The audience has spoken, Shep.
would be
Ghostbusters
fun.
blowjob scene wasn't practical effects; it was just practical.
Wait a minute. That
I
must
mean,
be a director's cut.
you could find some comedy within that. Like if the ghost was had the living room all dirty, and I'm bitching at the ghost, and she just floats into the other room, like through the wall or something. It's like, oh, you're just gonna go float away like that? You could do some funny shit with that.
Oh, for sure. For sure. And you're never washing her sheets, and she's getting after you because you just never they're just lying there in front of the laundry, never getting done.
It's like you're dead
there's a lot
anyway.
of-
What's the big point?
Yeah, you just work with what you know, right? That's what you do. You do what you know.
Oh yeah, we could have some gold going in that one. Sounds like Being Human, the show about a vampire, werewolf, and ghost trying to be roommates, is what Randy said in the comments. Yes,
I
ours
suppose.
would be better though.
Of course. We still got to give Hallmark a ring. As soon as we got off the air last week, we figured it out. So we gotta give Hallmark a call. Say, hey, we got your stoner show for you.
Chase and Shep rom-com.
There's sort of one of those coming down the line here before too long.
Nice.
Neither Shep or myself, neither one of us are part of the ROM part of it.
It's true.
But we show up for the com at the end.
You need your com.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
comms.
it's just usual, man. It's just otherwise.
We like to pitch. I actually just did this again the other day, pitching a new character to a new actor we're going to start working with. Where sometimes these other characters, like when we did summer camp, we would always tell our two other leads opposite us that they were in a different show than we were. We'd always tell them, it's like, you two are in like an ABC Family, like summer camp teen romance story
Yeah.
that happened to fall into the middle of all this crazy Chase and Shep shit. Like, you're in a different thing, and then we're doing our thing, and we accidentally cross paths. And that's kind of how it is for a lot of characters, where it's like they were just living their life until Chase and Shep came in like a wrecking ball.
Well, Chase and Shep, you know what I see with Chase and Shep? I see you guys are like the eternal buddy film, man. Like whether it's rom-com, comedy, horror, you guys are like the two buds. And that's your romance right there. It's a bromance. It's romance.
That's true.
Like, does
Yeah,
Hallmark
we're taking.
romance channel? Like, are they missing out?
You're right. Yeah.
I don't know, Chase, if I told you my full idea for a Hallmark thing, but I think I really nailed the mark.
I thought you did.
I don't know, because I was thinking about it at work, so it had to have been the next day after that. And I was like, listen, just for a good old wholesome stoner, I was like, okay, so you start a story with a teenager and his dad. Teenager's getting stoned, dad doesn't like it. He's like, man, you're being a piece of shit, you're getting stoned. I don't like that. Okay. Throughout this, it progresses to where the teenager, he's now growing up. And then he becomes a dad of his own. And he's struggling growing up. And then that kid becomes a teenager. And when the old dad, he starts smoking weed because it's a medical condition. He goes on medical cannabis. So it's like, you just have a trifecta at the end with like the new teenager smoking weed, like you could use my son's excuse because of anxiety or something like that. And we could get down with that. And then you got the dad in the middle that's like, well, you used to bitch at me when I was a teenager, but now you're vibing with my teenager because now you smoke weed because you got metal. Oh man, all over. I was like, yo, that would be chef's kiss right there.
Sunday nights after a ride.
All right, you're tripping me out as promised. You're tripping, man. You're tripping me. That's cool. Well, actually, speaking of
It walks that Chase and Shep could run.
oh.
I don't know about that.
Hey man, you guys got your own thing going on. You do.
I will say, I will say, looking into Silent Bob's eyes and having him, reassure me and give me such great advice. That was definitely a big moment for sure.
That's pretty awesome, man. Like meeting a hero, right?
Yeah. I don't know which one of us is Jay and which one of us is Silent Bob, really. I like to think we are kind of equal measures.
Yeah, you're a bit of a mash, and it's like you took the two characters, mashed them up, and then just kind of separated it. You know,
I always
I
think
had
that's
it.
the
I
most
had
fun.
it
Is like
once. I had
what?
it at once in my head, like that we'd be like, we're like a mashup. We're like a mashup of like
All
um,
of them.
Bill and Ted, Harold and Kumar, and Jane Silent Bob all rolled into maybe Freddy and Jason have to be in there too. Because, we got to have the horror element.
sure. Yeah. Freddie and Jason. So which one's Freddie and which one's Jason?
He's probably
I don't
Freddy.
know. Yeah, I mean, I
Yeah.
guess I do more
I'm the
of
big
the.
guy. I feel like I'm just like the big lumbering Jason.
Well, I feel like I would
type.
do more of the slapstick between the two of us. I'm the one like the little, like getting tackled by things. The kids fucking tackle me down and
Hope the
getting
mouth but Chase is mostly
duped
written with the
by
voice of reason.
yeah, and then like
Actually, Pudgy
getting
is
duped by
written
the
with.
turkey.
Yeah, Shep. I feel like Shep and I, whenever we do write things, it's equal measure. I feel like we share in the stupidity. Like for as many dumb decisions as he makes, I also make just as many dumb decisions as a character. But I do agree with Randy. I do feel like in certain projects, I am a little bit more of the straight man. But it's fun to switch off.
Sure.
It's
And you do need a straight man. You need
Yeah.
somebody to set it up, right? So it's nice to have that switch off.
I feel like anytime the two of us are the goofy ones, then usually our friend Tyler is in the scene and he's the straight man. Because somebody was just saying recently he's in this upcoming 420, and they were like, I feel like every time Tyler is in any of these things, he's just that guy who's like, I want nothing to do with this. He's like, I love you guys, but get the fuck away from me with all of your craziness.
Hey, just keep filming, and that's great. That's your straight guy right there.
Ron's like Jim Morrison meets Shaggy Rogers.
Hey.
Right on. Yeah. I like it.
Yeah,
Right.
I know. I was
I
explaining.
don't do things like this anymore in large crowds because there was this one time I was hanging out with Zombie Jesus. I got some photo shots with him. He was cool.
Zombie Jesus.
Yeah, man. Yeah, he's kind of bloody, where he's doing the part. And this was actually down at Rue Morgue. If you know what Rue Morgue is, it's an awesome horror magazine that's out of Toronto, Canada here. And they started having this horror yard sale annually before COVID. And I went down every year, once a year. And what a party. It was fun.
That sounds
people
fun.
venting, everything horror. There was Zombie Jesus. So, I got my Zombie Jesus t-shirt. You got to get that. And met the guy. It was good.
Noodle was the lake monster.
Kind of modeled after the Loch Ness, yes, I guess you could say. But
We like to think Noodle's a little smaller.
Yeah, Noodle, eh?
Well, I don't think you've made it to Noodle yet.
Oh.
But I'm not even going to say my character. Me as a person gets a lot of shit for what goes down with Noodle. That's one of those moments where I got that feeling of like, when an actor plays bad guys all the time, or their character does something shitty in a show, and then people start kind of coming at the real person. I kind of had that.
Yeah. So it's
like,
you don't want to throw that out there all the time because then you're villainized. In your life, right?
I still catch shit for it. They're like, you piece of shit. How could you do that? I'm like, just doing my job.
well, in the film, I made the executive decision to be kind of the jerk to a degree, but I'm not an asshole, right? Like I don't like watching movies with assholes personally because there's no need to write that into a script. It just kind of annoys me. I think people are going to look at us and go, "Oh, I hope," and I'm just a bit more pushy towards the ends. That's all,
Yeah.
Which Jan would say I'm totally not like that in real life. I think I hear her laughing in the other room.
I think for me it depends on what kind of an asshole the character is. There are some, like I think of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, where that is nothing but a cast of assholes.
Yeah.
and they're nothing but assholes, but that's why I watch the show, is because they're just such assholes.
Yeah.
But then there are other things, especially in horror, I feel like, where characters are just like you don't even want to spend time with them. Even though I love the movie VHS, that movie has a lot of those characters where you're just like, God, you are an awful person. Like,
I can't wait to see you die.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
So it does have an advantage that way too, right? But
yeah.
If done right.
Oh.
If done right.
Oh, hey, let me trip you guys out a little bit more and fill you in a little bit more on some things we have within our film. We have some stoner gags in the film. You know,
Nice.
our characters have some stoner gags, and I think you guys will appreciate it. One-liners written by yours truly that will either bomb or not. You know, bomb terribly.
Pam saying hi to Ron.
Oh, hey Pam, how you doing? Thanks for watching the show. Hope you're having a
yeah.
fun time.
Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah.
Thank you. So you were telling us, I think before we went on, about you guys started making your movie in COVID, like when the COVID lockdowns and stuff was going down. But what was like your inspiration behind wanting to make it? Like because you say you got like ghosts within it, and you're talking about your house being old and stuff. Do you have like any weird woods stories, weird occurrences that happen that you might have took from inspiration and put in there?
Well, there's some strange things I've seen. I can't get into details,
I feel
but
that.
we actually captured two anomalies while we were filming the actual movie. Just so happened they were workable scenes, so we're putting them in the film, and it'll be up for you to decide what's real, what's not. Because those ones, trust me, I didn't have the budget for these shots. But they look strange.
I know you sent those videos over. I don't
Yeah.
think Shep's watched them,
Oh,
but I did, and when anybody ever tells you they have something on camera, you go into it with a certain expectation sometimes. And I have to admit, after watching, I was like, maybe. I was like, maybe that
I don't know. And besides that, here all the time, we've seen strange stuff around. People have seen things on the property. People have seen like people walking around on the property when there's nobody walking around on the property, if you know what I mean. Mm-hmm. We've seen strange things in the sky. It wasn't just me, groups of people. We actually saw a triangle that was on the regular plane flight path, and it tricked us into believing it was a plane. It held off into the distance for a while, and when it slowly started coming towards us, towards Toronto and past us, it was one of those typical 3 points of light. It's one of those quiet triangles that had no sound. Like, we've seen things like that. Jan and I have seen these crazy things that we thought were satellites, but weren't. Where is this movie being distributed? We're actually working on that. When we know, we'll let everybody know. We'd love to get on. The big one right now is Tubi. That's great for independent artists. We'd love to get there, and a bunch of other ones if we can. We will be pressing some physical copies as well too. That will be available when they're ready. It's coming up soon though, and we're hoping to get it around that October time if we can. I'm not making any promises live or anything, but
right.
That's our hope. You hear that, team? You just found out. You got the memo live. But they got it, and I think we can do that. That's what we're hoping for. But strange things, we have seen strange things a lot just in our spare time. And don't you know, you put a camera in my hands, and we actually managed to capture some of it. We did have screech owls that were following us around during the shoot, even in the dark woods. They were more curious of us than we were of them. They're probably stomping their grounds. We saw lots of animals, heard lots of it. We think they were animals. Had a few helicopters flying over top when we were trying to do a shoot with a production light in the dense, dark forest. I thought the cops were going to come up and drive. But, eventually they went away. We turned the light off and they couldn't find us anymore. And they went away.
We've had that. I think I told you about one of the situations we had on set once where actually it was interesting because we talked about this, and I think it was the very next day that we went to go film, and that's funny. Thanks for the heads up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Thanks, Kevin. Yeah, he's one of the crew.
Um, totally just lost my train of thought. Oh, the very next day we had something happen on set. We were filming, and my pregnant girlfriend passed out in the middle of a shot. Well, I suppose it's the end of the shot because she got the shot, and it's the
Ooh,
one used in the short.
ooh.
But yeah, we had just talked about things happening on set and everything, and we thought. I thought she was trying to get a different angle. Thought she was trying to be artistic and like swing around me. But then we realized that she was going down, and she just
Man.
fell over right
Oh.
on her face, and the camera was rolling the whole time.
Right on our face.
Oh, and you got her
Freaking
on
us
film.
out.
Was
Well,
she
we got her POV of the fall since she
Oh,
was the cameraman. So unfortunately, Shep was recording on a iPad just for behind the scenes, and
yeah.
that was like the one time he wasn't recording an alternate
Well, no,
angle.
I started recording after that
That's right
because
after
the angles we were shooting before that, I couldn't have put nothing up there.
True.
What your
But,
wife puts up, for your art, right?
I know. She's a trooper.
But-
She's just so proud she got the shot. Like she's
Oh.
she's so happy about it.
He's an artist. That's
But
awesome.
yeah, we had the thing like blow up, and it ended up turning out to be my cousin. Shep had some PTSD after that one, but
But the last time we were
The
out there,
last
some weird
time.
shit happened too.
yes, the last time we went out to the same location, we like I said, if we were in a real horror movie, I'd probably die just from how casual I am about things, being like, it's probably just this, and then it's about the time an arrow shoots through my neck.
Oh.
But I just wrote it off as being my cousin's. But yeah,
Because
apparently
we really did have that horror movie set up. Because while we were filming, like during the day, some dude in a truck comes up
Mhm.
and just slows down really almost to a stop and just like watches us and then just goes off. And we're out in the middle of a fucking field,
middle of the
right?
fucking woods.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man.
Not
That's
yeah,
your
not
life story. Yeah.
not even close by there. And then it was like, it was at the end of the Thanksgiving thing when we were getting out of my truck, and for whatever fucking stupid reason, probably a Ford reason, every time we'd get in there, we'd roll the windows down, and then we'd be like action, and when we open the doors to get out of the truck, all the fucking car alarms would start like bam, 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 bam. So that kept happening, and I'm like, man, this ain't good. And then we saw some car pull down or something. It looked like about a car size pull down, and like, a ways away from where we were, but you could see this car, and then somebody get out carrying what looked to be like a flashlight or a lantern. And it was just, again, I was just like, Chase, we need to go, man. Like, this is not like, he's like, no, let's just finish it. We got to get this final shot. I'm like, we will get it fucking some other time, bro. I am not about to die out here. And we never even saw the car. We didn't see the people leave, and we never saw a car on the way out. So
It's a well-known fact in reality that cannibal families like scoping out their prey from a distance initially, right? So you took a chance.
Well, I'm not gonna lie, that area we were shooting in, it's not a far-fetched idea to think that there might be a family of cannibals out that way. So
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So a good thing to keep in mind, just like in found footage movies, don't stop shooting, man. Don't stop filming, because you might capture something really real, and at the very least, you got evidence. So
I almost I think we were talking leaving there, but it's like, I almost really wish that could have been somebody that knew us, but we didn't. So we could have kept filming. And then the whole end of this just turns into us actually freaking out. And then someone coming up, like, get on your knees. And like, they just executed all of us out in the middle of these woods. And it's just like, wait, did they actually fucking die? Like, that's not part of that. That's not no Thanksgiving. That would have been a cool way to end it, but of course we didn't know those people, and we were just really terrified. So we left.
Well, the turkeys would love that, watching that at Thanksgiving. The turkeys would really dig that, man. I don't know how big that audience is.
I mean, technically, I think I think the ending of that one actually did change as well for the Thanksgiving project, because the turkey won that fight. Spoilers to anybody who hasn't watched our short, but originally in the original version, the ending was so much more dumb than what it was, because we had that little tiny turkey to work with. We ordered it online, and the way it was described made it sound a lot bigger.
It's like Spinal Tap.
Pretty much. We ordered it, and it clearly said that it was like a centerpiece for a table, which I was like, it's fine. It looks the most like a turkey that we can get close to within our budget. So like, let's do that. And they sent it, and then it ended up being like that big.
Oh, brilliant.
And I was like, that's not what I expected.
Wow.
So we had to just roll with it, of course. But the original ending was this really stupid play on all sorts of found footage stuff, where we are going to find the turkey at the end, and off in the distance we see lights and stuff, and we're like, what the hell is that? And we find out, yeah, we found out that it cuts from us to the turkey being filmed by his own film crew, making his own documentary. And that was the original plot of the Thanksgiving project, and where he's doing his own documentary about getting revenge on humans on Thanksgiving, and then our crews kind of clash, and then we kill the turkey and yank the footage from the other crew to finish making our thing. But we did not have enough people, so we said fuck it and went with our little tiny turkey.
Well, maybe one day in the future you could do a reboot if you had enough people.
That's funny.
There's a joke in there somewhere.
Yes. Jason Bell having a watch party? Maybe. I don't know. I don't know what the rules are when we get the screener. If we can watch it with a group.
Well, talk to me. Talk to me. If they're vetted by you, I think we'd be okay with that.
Only our crew, only our Earth 2 and 7 folks.
Another thing, it's funny you brought up that your wife took a fall, because isn't that funny how that happens when you're doing movies and they doing stuff? I took a fall that was unplanned, and it was a good one. And Jan got it behind me from her point of view, and I got it from my point of view, and I managed to duck, tuck, and roll. So I landed on my back, knocked the camera, and I saved the camera, and it looked pretty good, so we're keeping it in the film.
Nice.
You know, if I'm going to almost hurt myself, it's going in the film.
Oh yeah, same. There's a scene in the summer camp that we were filming that I kind of did the same. Like I was just on one when we were filming it, and I was just feeling good, and I thought that they were going to shoot me running from inside a building, and you can see me coming around the window and coming in and then out real quick. I thought they'd film me coming out real quick, so I did like a little front flip. I don't know what I was thinking, but I did like a little action front flip, like you roll on your back, get back up on your feet, and keep running type thing. And I ended up like really like, man, like I really hurt my shoulder and all this kind of stuff. And I came back in and I was like, yo, did you guys get that on film? Like that was actually really cool. And they're like, get what on film?
Oh,
like,
man.
We didn't even see it
out there. Yeah.
Bummer.
And they didn't even see it.
And you don't have a stunt chef, so you know.
These are only chasing
that
Shep.
one, I was like,
right here.
I don't think I'm doing that one again. After that one, I was like, unless there's like a little crash pad, then I'm down.
That's good. Crash pads are good.
I feel like I asked you to do it again because you told me you did it. I'm like, oh shit, I didn't know you were going to do that. Can you do it again? You're like, fuck no.
Yeah.
Like, absolutely not. That was a one and done.
That reminds me of directing my wife Jan, because we have a part in the film where it was written she would fall, and we had to do it twice. We kept it to twice, but man, she kind of wrenched her knee both times too. So you got to be careful. You got to be careful. Everybody out there shooting, making film, be careful, because in Canada we're lucky because we've got health insurance that's covered by the government. I don't know about you guys in the States. You're on your own.
Yeah, that's true.
It's hard down here.
Yeah, we had another injury. It is one of those things where if we actually wrote down a list of people who got harmed or hospitalized during a Chase and Shep production, we might be a little screwed. But I know one of our buddies who played Mason Snorhees in summer camp. It was filming the finale episode, and he like ran up and jumped and came back down off camera, and when he did that, he like blew out his knee. on just coming down. All he did was jump up and down. I mean, it
Yeah,
didn't jump off of anything or anything like that. So sometimes it doesn't take much.
it doesn't. No. Yeah, and nobody warms up. I don't know about you, but I don't.
It's all for the art.
It's all for the art. It happens.
Yeah, you got to learn how to take a fall really good because luckily I grew up skateboarding, so you learn to flop, you learn to just kind of go with it and not to try to brace and catch yourself.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think the little intro video we did was my best fall I think I ever did, getting off the last 420 thing when I get up off Pudgy's couch thing, and I slipped and I fell on the ground and he just threw me like boom. And it's like that's probably the best ones because we used to do that when I was in high school. Coming up the stairs, you'd have like a classroom up in front, and people would be like staring out the door off into space. So me and my friends used to pretend like we'd catch our foot on the top stair and like fall down and drop all of our books and everything to get people laughing and shit. So
yeah, you were doing the Dick Van Dyke.
yeah.
Dick Van Dyke's actually.
My hand's actually healed up now, so we're actually good. I'll probably have a scar there though, so production scar.
You should write that into a story.
Actually, I think we have a story that sort of fits that.
Oh, man.
I think we had a small skit that we haven't gotten around to yet called Shep Stigmatas.
Ooh, that sounds perfect.
Well, playing off the fact that Shep is Jesus sometimes. That's his superpower. Shep is such a strange character, I feel like, within the universe, because he's like, we just said the other day, he's basically got the powers of a Disney princess, but he also turns into Jesus sometimes. So.
Wow, that's awesome, man. I'm intrigued.
It's like, how does he do it? I don't know. I mean, like, I love the Jesus thing because, that always reminds me of an old story from my past that was a weird coincidence and funniness of involving Jesus and a lot of hallucinogenic drugs. Me and it's quick story. Me and all my friends were, they was off doing their thing. And one of my friends, Eric, started being like, yo, I'm dying. I think I'm dying right now. And everybody's like, you're not dying, man. You're fine, dude. Like, you're good. Just be cool. Be chill. And he's like, no, really. I think I'm dying right now. Like, I feel like I'm dying. So they're like, go lay down on the couch. So he fucks off to the couch. He's laying down. He's doing his thing. 5, 10, 15 minutes, however long later, because time at that moment doesn't mean a thing. Front door kicks open and this hippie dude, long ass hair, comes in. And he's just like, hey, that guy right there, he's dying, man. And we're like, what? And he like runs over to my friend on the couch and he's like saying all this weird tongues, weird shit. Puts his hands on his chest, and my friend like sits up and he starts breathing. And he's like, holy fuck, man. And the guy like just got up and just darted back out of the house. He's gone. And he's off into the night, into the shadows. He was gone. And my friend was up there being like, Jesus himself had to come down here and save my ass because none of you would fucking listen to me. I told you I was dying, man. I was dead over there. And Jesus said, and so we're like, I guess Jesus just saved your life, man. I don't know any other explanation for this because no one knew him.
There might be something to that.
Yeah. This is the first time I've heard that story.
Yeah, there's some weird coincidences that I've had like that, on those sorts of things where you just have some weird shit happen that you're like, I don't know how I can explain this.
That's a good segue for one more thing I wanted to point out is the synchronicities, right? Mm-hmm. So now I'm old enough to have been recognizing synchronicities for a long time in my life, but for the last 3 years since I've been working on this film, even finding people connected to the film, things around the film, synchronicities are unbelievably heavy lately for the last 3 years. And it's to the point where they happen and I'm like, oh, well, there's another one. It's just remember what's going on when those synchronicities happen. And to me, it's kind of like a message you're on the right path, Right. I don't know if you ever notice 1111 or 111 or catch yourself just catching numeral repetition like that and clocks and certain messages that you could be getting, I believe, from the universe. It's not like they're tapping it in. You're looking now, but you just happen to look now and just, I don't know, synchronicities. I don't think there's coincidence. I think
I
there's
agree.
synchronicities.
I agree. There's been a lot of that for me. I mean, throughout my life, but specifically these last 3 years, there's been a lot of it. When it comes to this, especially being creative, things just kind of happen like this. I know one story from a few years back. There was actually the girl that I dated previously. When we first started seeing each other, um, we hung out at a friend's house, and this was like how our relationship began and everything. And we were by a street that was Stillwater Drive, and that's where our relationship began. And then fast forward about a year later, and she had been accepted to a university in Oklahoma, Stillwater, Oklahoma, where she moved, and that was where I almost moved there and everything. Just the fact that Stillwater Drive was where we met, and Stillwater, Oklahoma, is where we ended, was one of those things that was just very,
Yeah.
intriguing.
Yeah. How can you not recognize that, right?
Just things like
very
that
true.
everywhere.
Yeah. Well, if we're getting on a trippy level, like some people think that's trippy and it's new agey, but hey, we were just talking earlier about how there's now there's science fiction. What used to be science fiction is now science, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're living in a crazy new age, man. It's a wild time to be alive, when you think about string theory and they're trying to connect actual interdimensionality and time travel, actually moving particles. Whoa, man. It's not Star Trek anymore. This is actually happening.
Yeah,
It
it's
is,
wild.
yeah. I love it. Me and a guy at my work, we always are talking all these kind of things. Living in the light matrix and stuff like that. It's like, that's it, man. We're all just a bunch of light, reflected light and shit like that. Whatever. I love it.
Yeah, man. Like, you ever wonder where we all go to, right? Like, I'm not touching on religion or anything like that, but when I was a kid and I was trying to understand what death was, like really young, trying to go, what would death be like, right?
Mhm.
I would close my eyes and I'd imagine, okay, close your eyes now. Just imagine you're nothing. Just imagine that. And I start imagining that, and I start freaking myself out because it was so quiet in my head. It's not like that anymore. It's not quiet anymore, baby. But as a kid, I could think about that, and it was kind of disturbing. And I had no basis for anything I believed in as a kid. I was forced to religion when I was a kid. So, like everybody else, here you go. Here, you take this. It was part of school and everything, right?
Mm.
But now I've got my own theories that aren't religious based as much as they are spiritual based. And, I like to think that we are pure energy. And on a scientific level, we know that energy never ceases to exist. Energy changes forms. So I'm not saying there's a heaven up there with clouds. That looks great on film. But I think there's a pool of energy that we could all go back to one day.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe that's where we're pulling ideas. Maybe that's where you guys get crazy ideas from, because we say things
all
like,
the other actual.
right? All your ancestors,
sorry.
all the other comedy people that are your influences. What if from the past? What if we're pulling from a pool of information like a cosmic record level?
Nikola Tesla believed in that, I believe. He always said that when he did his experiments and figured things out, that he felt like he was being transmitted to a spot within the universe that contained all knowledge.
Right. And lots of people postulate about that. They've actually given it the term acoustic records. And
I asked someone that happens.
Ooh, before you were born. That's very interesting. There's a story without going into details. My daughter, when she was really young, she freaked me out at one point, and she wasn't a wacka kind of girl. Well, she was, but she wouldn't pull pranks like this. And she was quietly sitting reserved, which was nice, on the couch playing with something. And she just matter of factly said, "You're not like my other mommy and daddy," just out of the blue. And I'm like, "What?" And I turned to her. I said, "Are you talking to me?" She's like, "Yeah, you're not like my other mommy and daddy." I'm like, "Well, why is that?" And she said, "Well, my other mommy and daddy, their skin was black." And I said, "Who's that, Hope?" And she stopped talking. She never brought that up again. And I've asked her even recently after that, and she just didn't know. It's almost like somebody was talking through her voice and she wasn't herself. So the idea that children are a bit more open to things, I could believe in that. I could believe in potentially things influencing us or us coming from anything's possible. We don't know anything. Anybody that says they know anything about ghosts, oh yeah, ghost hunters that are, vetted ghost hunters, they're professionals. They don't know anything anymore than I do. So,
nope.
It's very true. It's very true.
Yeah. I got nothing. I thought
You got nothing, Chase? You got nothing with that?
I thought I did, but I lost it.
So here's another cool little ghosty thing that's connected to maybe one of the influences in the Who incident that I wrote. This actually happened to me again regarding my daughter. This was a few months after she was born. My father had passed away. He wasn't alive to see my daughter. And about 3 months after that, I had a dream where I walked down into my childhood basement where my father had a workbench with my daughter in my arms, my 3-month-old daughter. And my dad was down there. And I walked up to my dad, matter-of-factly, and said, "Hey, Dad, how's it going? Check it out. Here's your granddaughter." And it was such a proud moment. And he was so proud. She said, "She looks so beautiful. Oh, they're so awesome. That's great." Pat me on the shoulder. It was so lucid. Like I can remember it like it was a memory that actually took place. And when I woke up, I was so touched. And I've heard stories about dream communications. So I think my father, actually, I almost know my father met my daughter that night.
Yeah, dude, I've
really
with that. I had a similar experience when my great grandfather passed away. Because at that time I was like 16, so I was going through my own stuff and battling my probably depression. But at the time, I would have never been like, "Yeah, I'm depressed." But yeah, no, same. I had a dream one night that I was just doing my thing at a party or something, and my great grandfather was there, and I'm just like, "What are you doing here?" And sat down and had like a little conversation of goodbyes, basically, and stuff like that. Because I was living down in St. Louis at the time, and we live about halfway in between St. Louis and Chicago here. And that's where he was. So I wasn't able to be there like when he actually passed and stuff. So yeah, I woke up feeling the same, man. It really felt like I got to say goodbye to his energy, his spirit, whatever it was, and have that moment of him, being like, "You're going to be good. Everything's going to be fine. I'm good. I'll see you later," basically. And it's like, yeah, man, I'll see you.
Yeah, man. It's closure on a cathartic level, and you'd be surprised how many people have had the same experience. More and more these days, people are willing to talk about that. It's not something we hide in the closet anymore.
Right.
I know I'm still reeling from the revelation from the last time you and I talked, where talking about the dream where I saw what I believe was my child that never got the chance to be born. But when you mentioned that, what if that's you seeing the son you're getting ready to have?
Wow,
that really hit. That really hit, and I really started thinking about that. And I'm so curious to see this little guy here in about a month or so, and see if it's not the same kid from the dream I had all those years ago, which would be incredible.
That's pretty wild. That's pretty wild.
Dreams are a fascinating topic, for sure.
They very much so are.
Yeah. I think a lot of people, we all have latent abilities. I believe that, and they're just locked in those people. We've been dumbed down so much as a society. Here I am, talking about entertainment that I'm providing as well too. But on a mass basis, though, a lot of people do just click on the screen and they disappear into that before it's time to get their REM in their sleep, and then they go to work and they do that just over and over and over. And we're so susceptible to things, but when your mind's a bit more open and you're not in drone-like states, I think you can pick up on things and you can open up things inside of yourself.
Yeah, I agree. That's one of my favorite theories, up there with the multiverse and everything. I've always been a firm believer that human beings can do more than we believe we can. on a mental level. I think things that are considered superpowers, these supernatural abilities aren't that supernatural,
Yep.
or so a lot of psychic abilities are merely psychology. Just being able to, like you said, open yourself up to other human beings. You get to a point where you almost can read somebody's mind and everything, and that might not be exactly what's happening. You might not be actually hearing their thoughts, but if you open yourself up to that connectivity of the world, then
Yep.
you can see the patterns, you can see the zeros and ones, and just kind of know things. And I definitely think I'm a firm believer in that.
Yeah. Now, I hope it's not a fabricated reality. That's crazy to even think that people are thinking about that these days. But
Yeah.
you do have flat earthers. No offense to anybody out there. If you believe in flat Earth, that's fine. Like, that's outside of the box. See, the one thing about flat earthers, I do have respect for them on in this respect. That is so outside of the box thinking. It's brilliant. If more people thought outside of the box like that, think of what we could achieve. It's just it's looking at something from a different angle. Even if you're wrong,
Yeah.
at least you're opening your mind up to the concept and not saying, no, this is the way it is. Things
I
aren't
feel
always
that. I feel that big time.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
Well, suppose it's that time. We've already ran over a little bit, but that's okay.
Oh, right.
So, one time for the mind. Closing thoughts. Who would like to start with the closing thoughts?
If you want, I'll start with a thought out there, and this is something for anybody out there that's creative, that wants to create something. Don't hold yourself back. You've got this. You can do it. It's going to be amazing. Just do it. Don't let nobody say you can't, especially yourself. Yeah.
It's a good one.
I vibe with that.
Yeah, I endorse that.
Yeah. Man, I don't know if I really have I was on my old Spotify kick a couple one time for the minds in a row. I don't have nothing like that for this week. Next week I get a little vacation. You get to take a little break from everything. So if you feel yourself like getting stressed out, don't be afraid to take yourself a little break, even if it's a staycation. I'm just gonna kick that around the house, man.
Yeah. I've had to do that the past week or so, just with all the editing that's been on my plate. I can't just sit here at the computer. So Stephen King has been my reprieve this past week. His books, just being able to step away for a while and crack open a good book and get into that.
Yeah, I kind of did that with music this year because I had realized, coming up, I was thinking about trying to make another album, sort of something for 420, and I was like, man, for the past 3 years, I've literally went from recording leftovers to recording a solo to recording a thing with Humbly G, another 420 Chasing Shep, another Halloween. It's like I really haven't stopped, so it's been nice to take a little mental break. It helps to rejuvenate the creativity flow.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. I'm kind of at that point as well. Today I had to whip up some new music for our 420 short releasing later this week, and that was the first time I'd made music in a while, and it was a nice feeling. It was nice. That's always the artistic thing I go for when I just want to just be artistic and have no end goal in mind with it. But we'll get to you, Randy. I see you down there. We'll get to you. But my one time for the mind, it is the week of 420. I hope everybody has a fantastic week. I hope everybody has a great 420. Have a safe, responsible 420, of course.
And Bicycle Day if you're celebrating Bicycle Day.
And Bicycle Day, of course. And and don't forget to tune in to Chase and Shep Get Too High. And what do we got here? Got a one time for the mind for Ron. How did you one time for the mind after hours of animation? Wait, what?
How do you soldier on,
Randy? How do you soldier on?
Man, it used to be alcohol and cigarettes and coffee, but my body's old and I can't do that like that anymore. I don't know if I'm inspired enough. I think I try and pick projects that in my age that I'm inspired to stay and work late on. And sometimes you got to do that. And you got to get into the zone. That's something I can talk to. We don't have enough time to talk about the zone, but that's one thing. that would be good for everybody to know about. Finding that zone where you lose time and space and accomplish 10 hours of work in 1 hour.
I feel like I don't know who here has seen the movie Soul that Pixar released a few years back, but I feel like Soul touches on a lot of the things we've talked about here today, because they have a whole part of that movie about the zone and just losing yourself into something, and the whole movie's about where you go, before and after life, and that whole realm, before you're born and after you die and everything. It's very interesting. Good on you, Disney, for getting so deep.
Yeah.
I vibe with it.
Yeah. So that'll do it, I think. So Ron, thank you very much. I was
Ron,
really
thank
looking
you.
forward to this.
Yeah.
Everybody keep an eye out for the Who incident. Not being promised to release this October, but
the official trailer will be coming out very soon.
Yeah,
Hey.
keep your eyes peeled. We will definitely be posting that here on the channel whenever it does officially release.
Most definitely. Happy 420 cheeseburger sandwich.
Happy 420, guys. Thank you so much. Peace and love, everybody.
Peace. See y'all on Thursday.
Smooches and deuces.